Hey, high school team, Steven here. I just wanted to make this video really quickly for you. We just got some information on trimester weighting policy shifts, only at the high school level at this point. And I wanted to, for a couple of reasons, make this video pretty quickly here. Number one, I wanted you all to be able to take a look at this policy. We're going to talk about rationale in this video. We're going to talk about some next steps here that are required of our leadership team and of you all, our teaching team. And then also, I wanted to make sure that you all felt prepared to share some of this with families at our conferences this week. You are not the only communicator of this with families at conferences this week. I'll be sharing this in our family forum next week, and I'll also be making sure that this gets added to the newsletter. But we want to make sure that we start to deliver some of this communication on Friday at conferences. So basically what we're looking at here is a 2-option grade weight policy for Tri 1, 2, and 3. And it's really going to be dependent upon the student's performance in Tri 1 and Tri 2. So here's what I mean by that. If I am student A, right, and let's say student A got A's and B's in Tri 1, and I overall just did really well in Tri 1. I am more than likely going to be on option 1 here, okay? Because we don't want to punish a student for doing well in Tri 1. We want to reward that student. We do know at the high school level, especially a lot more so than the middle school level, we had a pretty good number of students who actually performed better online than they did in an in-person space. And like I said, we want to reward them for that, not penalize them for that. So if that was the case, a student would go through here into option 1. And this will be done at a class-by-class basis. So let's say a student got an A in a math class in Tri 1, and then also gets an A in a math class in Tri 2. We could put them on option 1 for that math class. Let's say that same student got a F in a science class in Tri 1, and then got a B in a science class in Tri 2, then option 2 is going to make the most sense for that student because it's going to weight that trimester 1 grade significantly less than the Tri 2 grade and then even the Tri 3 grade as well to kind of make up for the gap caused by devaluing trimester 1. So that is just super briefly and high level kind of what each of these options looks like. You do not need to do any changes right now. We are still awaiting home office guidance on how to best operationalize this to make sure that it's really smooth and really easy for us. The home office is going to be creating some reports, which I'll talk about in a second, that will allow us to do this really, really easily. Here's some rationale that I really want to talk about. You know, for our 9th grade students, we have always devalued or weighted less trimester 1 as compared to trimester 2 and 3. And we do that because we know that our 9th grade students coming in from even our own middle school, there's a transition period into figuring out how to be a successful high school student for a lot of our students. So we want to really not penalize students for that transition period, but instead weight those 2nd and 3rd trimesters a little more heavily to kind of celebrate the growth of that student throughout the year as they transition into what it means to be a high schooler. Currently, for our high school students, you could argue that they're all going through that same scenario that I just described, that of a 9th grader, where in Tri 1, this is the first time where we really had a robust remote learning plan. In the spring, you could argue that it was a lot different. So this was a transition period for our students, just like it was for us as the adults in the room. So we want to make sure that if I am a student who really struggled to transition and who, you know, worked hard but just was not able to figure out how to achieve that higher level of success for whatever reason in Tri 1, that we are giving them now a opportunity through option 2 here to still achieve higher levels of success throughout the rest of this school year. Because I think what we are going to see for a lot of our students Maybe some students did struggle in Try 1, but now they're starting to have things click a little bit more. I'm really confident in our 6-week push that we're going to see a lot of improved results. I think the shifts in sequence of assessed standards are going to allow for higher level performance by our students and a more focused content mastery focus for our students. So I think option 2 here will really benefit those that struggle to kick off the year but are now improving. And option 1 will ensure that we are not punishing students who also did really well in Try 1, because we have quite a few of those students as well. Here are the additional supports coming to us from the home office that I referenced earlier. We will have really clear guidance given to us for how to implement this in IC. Probably the most important support here is that Polaris report that will come out to us that will just tell us which grade to use, which weighting to use on a class level basis. So we will not have to do a ton of guesswork there. We will also have some really clear guidance on supporting students in doing these calculations throughout Try 3 once they've kind of been placed on either one of these paths, option 1 or option 2. And then lastly, we're going to have guidance for me and for the rest of our instructional leadership team from the home office on how to best implement this policy. So we will all be kind of figuring this out together. But in short here, what I am presenting to you today are these 2 options, which will be completely determined on an individual student basis. Option 1 is largely for students at a class level that did well in Try 1 and continue that success into Try 2 and Try 3. Option 2 is largely for students at a class level that struggled a little bit more in Try 1 and have shown improvement in Try 2 and hopefully show even further improvement in Try 3. And we want to weight those grades accordingly to reward the students that have had success throughout the year and also reward the students who have started to figure things out as we get used to this remote, potentially hybrid school year here. If you have any questions for me, please just reach out directly to me. I'm happy to talk through this with you. In the email that accompanies this video, or where you found this video, you will see some talking points for how to talk about this with families in your conferences on the 11th. And if you have questions about that or you need some clarity there, don't hesitate to reach out. I am here to support. I really am excited about this shift. I think it's going to be what's best for kids. One quick flag of note here is this. In communicating this to students, do not use the language of help, not hurt, so students do not conflate this with the spring of 2020. We saw in the spring of 2020 that we had some students who really crushed Try 1 and then just kind of coasted because their grade was so high. This policy is just vastly different from that. Every trimester counts. So if students start to have ideas that they could get away with, hey, I did great in Try 1, so I'm just not going to try in Try 3, that is not going to put them on the road to success here. So please make sure that as we talk to students about this, that it's very clear that this is much different from the plan from the spring of 2020. Again, if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, y'all.